Hey guys, it's Lucid Dreams, servicing the higher minds. Can't believe I'm back with another video the next day, right? That's unusual for me. So I'm sitting out here enjoying this beautiful day. And I don't know, I just wanted to talk. I want to talk a little bit. So I was thinking about space and time, and how many times I've astral traveled into space is incredible. And so many people don't know the truth about what's up there. And so I'm here to tell you about it. So it took me a long time to ever travel into the realm of space, in astral soul form. And I think that's because I was young when I started astral traveling. I was, in a mental mindset that was confused. I was confused, seeing a lot of lost souls, demons, and things like that in this area, closer to Earth. And, that's all I knew. And it was my faith that got me anywhere. It was my faith that got me to higher places because, for until I was like 22, 25, all I seen was, heaviness and, lost souls. And, there was even times that I was frustrated with God and I didn't understand why people were stuck here. And it made me scared to die myself, because I knew what my soul seen. But why the reason for that is because my soul was literally only matching the frequency in which those, people were in anyhow. I was unable to go higher. And it took learning and experience. A gift doesn't mean that you have all the answers. You still have to learn. So, even though I can travel, I still had to go by faith. And it was faith in it was definitely faith that landed Jesus in my presence, and I'll do a video about that here soon. At least 5 to 10 times I've seen Jesus, and he's guided me, he's taught me things, and it's been an amazing experience. But he didn't just manifest into physical being and let me see him right away. It took faith. He had to make sure that I truly believed in him, and I did. Every time I woke up in soul form and seen something scary or bad, I just literally prayed, "Wake me up, Jesus, please, wake me up, God, in Jesus' name." And I woke up every time. And I knew he was there just because I could rely on him. But, it was my faith that led me in his presence. So, what I want to talk about is space and time. And I've done a video about it before, but not this kind of way. So, in space, you travel up. When you go into soul form, your body travels up. Your body's light. Your soul body's light. And it wants to float up. You fly, you can transfer at the thought. Time is different there. It's sped up, and a thought can actually teleport you somewhere. And it's crazy because if you house negative thoughts or things that aren't real within you, you actually go to those areas or you see those things because that's who you are. And so when I teach this stuff about controlling thoughts, it's because of everything I've learned through astral traveling growing up. And so, when I got into the space area, I can't actually remember the first time I traveled into space. I've been there so many times. I don't remember my actual first experience, but I could tell you that, in space, there's planets, right? And on these planets have life. And I had to think about that. I'm like, how's come we can't see them with our telescopes? Well, I truly believe they can and they know. But, based on what you guys have been told now at this present time, yeah, they lead everyone to believe that they don't see anything. Now, I don't know if they do or not, but I don't know how they couldn't, okay? Because each planet has life on it. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and this happened to not only probably 2 years ago. I woke up in an astral, and I didn't see my flight, okay? Because sometimes, most of the time you wake up and you see your body in bed, and, all these things. You're roaming your house, you go out, you walk through a wall, you go outside, those type of things, before you go out into space. But my abilities are so strong, and my soul actually leaves the body sometimes without me even knowing until after I'm out there. And I'm so familiar with it that I know what's happening. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I literally woke up consciously aware that I was in an astral. And there's no mistaking it. It's not a dream. If you are an astral traveler, you know how you know. And I can't explain that to you guys and make it a short video. But yeah, so I woke up and I was on a planet. I thought it was Earth. okay? And that's happened to me numerous times. I'm like thinking I'm on Earth because, you know, I'm earthly, and I'm in this perception of reality that doesn't really expand my consciousness into thinking that, you know, I could just land on another planet. I'm so familiar with Earth that is where I think I'm at, right? I landed on Mars, okay? On Mars. And I woke up literally walking on a street, okay? The atmosphere appeared to be an orange haze, is what it appeared to be. And it wasn't like, you know, orange everywhere. It was barely. It was like, you know, a sunset. You definitely could feel, it was not just a sunset, I shouldn't say that. It actually went down to the ground. The orange haze was everywhere, okay? But it didn't affect me. I can't explain it. I walked through this garage and I still thought I was on Earth. Like, it's not that much of a difference. Yeah, everything was kind of orangey. You know what? It's not that big of a deal, right? Two and two didn't come together at all. So I walked through this garage and there was 3 children in the garage. In the garage, you know, in the back, you see, I'm thinking I'm in soul form. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at. And I'm thinking, okay, God, am I supposed to be helping these people? You know, it was daytime there. And, you know, it was like, am I supposed to watch these people like in a ghost form, you know, because they're living, they have bodies, like they're alive, right? They had bicycles. And so I walk through the back of the garage, and the garage opens in the back, and then in the front it opens as well, okay? So I'm walking on this little, you know, it was a paved road, like cement like ours, and I'm walking and I go through this and I see these 3 kids and I think I'm a ghost, right? I think they can't see me. So I walk right up in the garage and I'm like looking at these cool gadgets they have on their bikes, and I'm like, these are cool, and they're about this big, and they clip on the bicycle and you can see the moon phases in them. And there was actually 2 moons on the gadget, okay? So it was like a full moon and a half moon beside it. I visibly couldn't see a moon from where I was standing as far as, you know, on that planet. So I don't know if they have 1 moon, 2 moons, what, you know, I didn't see that. I wasn't looking for that. Kind of wish I was, but, you know, again, I thought I was on Earth, and I'm just seeing these, and I actually thought, well, maybe I'm in the future because time doesn't exist, and when you're astral traveling, you go depending on the frequency of your mind. And I have been in the future. I've been in the future by 5 minutes, and that's proving to me that I was in the future before I was in the future. And I've also been in the future years ahead of me. And I've been in the future to the point where it could not be in this lifetime. It gets hard to distinguish past from present. Well, I wouldn't say present. It's hard to distinguish past from future and future from past when you don't know what you're seeing. Okay, so like if I see myself in another time frame, you know, I'm getting off course here. Let's just get back to Mars. Okay, so I go to Mars. But yeah, so I'm walking through this garage and this kid just totally freaks out, and he was rude. He's kind of like kids are now, you know, kind of cocky. He's like, "Don't touch my stuff," you know? Matter of fact, I think he said, "Don't touch my shit." And I was like, "Oh shoot, you could see me?" And he's like, "Of course I could see you, dummy." Like he was mad. And I was like, "Okay." That was a really cool gadget, you know? And he's like, "Well, you messed it up." So whatever it was, they all had them on their bikes, and they had the moon phases on them, and it was technology. And it was digital, like you could see it. I can't even say it was digital. It could have been holographic. I don't know. I just know that when you looked at it, you seen the moon, and I don't know how it was operated is what I'm saying. I don't know what was, whatever. Okay, so I walk, because he's pissed, right? And the other 2 didn't really say much to me. And I walk out of the front, and I see a house here. Okay, so here's the garage. There's a house here, looked like a trailer, faced this way. And there's also a house right here, faced this way. And I come right up around here. And now that I know that I'm being seen, you know, in my mind, in my soul's actually smarter than my physical mind. That limits me a lot. I knew that, you know, that I was just matching the frequency. Which means, it gets complicated to explain. This means that, like, if I was to, I don't know how to explain that. So, the frequency that my soul is vibing at is dependent on who can see me. Okay, you guys can't see ghosts, right? It's because their frequency is different. I can see ghosts because I can change my frequencies. I can level up, I can, you know, whatever it is, like I can see. And, you know, sometimes actually lower ones I don't see anymore. I feel them more so than anything because I'm not on that lower level frequency like I once was. But yeah, so basically I knew that we were all ghosts. That's what I knew. But they didn't know that. Okay, they're living. all right? They're living. And the only reason why I know that I was, you know, they are ghosts is because I just went from soul form to the place, right? I knew my body was at home in bed, and so I knew that I was soul form, and if they could see me, they're soul form. But they had houses on Mars, okay, and they had gadgets. I didn't see cars, but I'm sure there was some. I mean, I seen a garage that was big enough to house a car. I seen bicycles, and I seen technology, and so I walk up to the guy, and he was on the front porch of this house that sits in front of the garage. And I'm walking, and it was almost like, it was really cool, okay? This guy was such a hippie, and we vibed well. Like, I knew I could judge his being. But keep in mind, I'm at their frequency, right? Like, otherwise I couldn't be in their presence. So we're all a lot alike anyway. So I walk up, and keep in mind, I didn't know I was on Mars at this point. Still didn't know this, okay? So I walk up, and I said, hey, do you mind if I sit on your porch for a minute? You know, and he thinks I'm a living person, right? Because that's how he sees things. And so, yeah, he was like, yeah, I guess so. And I was like, well, hey, I just have a couple questions. I'm not from around here. And I instantly said I was from Earth. Like, because he asked me, where are you from? I'm from Earth. Why did I say I was from Earth? I didn't even know I was on Mars, okay? So that tells you how much your soul knows that you don't, how much your subconscious knows that you don't. That's why you always trust your feelings, your instincts. There's things that I know that I can't bring back here because I can't remember it all in my physical brain. There's things that also that you can't understand within the physical system, okay? So God, if we knew all of God's knowledge, it would self-destruct our body systems. We would cease to exist. We can't house his knowledge, all of it. You know, we can't house the whole thing. So anyway, I'm just telling you that I said I was from Earth. And even after I said it, I questioned, like, why did I say that? Like, why wouldn't I just say I'm from Indiana? You know, that was very weird to me. So it was odd, right? So anyway, I go up to him, and he let me sit on the porch. Now, I was there 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours. I knew I was in this travel forever. I was so disconnected from body that the body wasn't pulling me home. Usually the body, I am pulled home for safety reasons. It's out of my control. Even if I want to stay somewhere, I'll start to wake up at home because my body's pulling me back. When I feel that urge, you know, it's a connection. I would never try to not, you know, and the fact that I was as far and had no urges to go home, like, you know, I noticed that. Anyhow, 2 to 3 hours I sat there. Their time. Now, that might be 10 minutes our time. You know, even in the Bible, it tells you time is different. You know, one day could be 1,000 or something similar. You know, like, that's because time doesn't exist, okay? So, anyhow, I don't remember the whole conversation. I can't bring everything back. And I remember while I was sitting there, you know, I remember the feeling. Now, if somebody in another time frame inflicts a feeling upon me, you know, I'll remember those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember how you felt, just like when you're living, like right now, you're living, right? And you remember things, you know, sometimes your memory gets jogged and you'll forget, or somebody's like, hey, you remember this? You're like, oh yeah. But when a feeling is attached to the memory or the conversation, then you're able to retain it, you know, in your mind. And that's how I bring information back. Almost everything that I can tell you that I brought back is associated with a feeling. So, you know, there's other times in the future that I have a different job, and I've actually, I can remember working that job, but I couldn't do that job here in this time because my mind's not trained to do it. Those type of things. It's something that you have to learn. Those are learned skills, which is same as autopilot. Long story short, I'm sorry I'm dragging this out. I'm just trying to make my explanation because this is deep. When I said I'm from Earth, and he was like, no way. The Earth has been on fire since 2019. That's what he told me. And that set in a feeling, you know. I'm like, no, I'm from Earth, and it's not on fire right now. And he's like, it is on fire. And so that's when he tells me I'm on Mars, right? And I said, okay, well, maybe it's 2019 your time, you know, and I can't remember the 2-hour conversation, and I remember telling him right before I left, there is no way I could bring this back with me. It's impossible. There is no way to bring this information back, so therefore, you know, how can I remember this for me upon awaking? you know, because I knew I had to go home, and I knew that this would be forgotten, and this was important. The information that he told me was so knowledgeable. I mean, it could be life changing. It could be life changing, and can't recall it. Now, there is a 2-page paper I wrote upon awakening, and it has more detail than I'm giving here, and that'll go in my book. And I'm not trying to sell my book. It'd be a while for that's out. I'm just trying to tell you that, you know, there's a little more information I'm not putting here. But the thing is that him telling me Earth was on fire really made me feel some sort of way. It frightened me, actually. And, you know, at this point, I can't tell, you know, the fact that he's seeing me and he's able to, you know, understand I'm from Earth tells me that this time frame in Mars are experiencing some kind of knowledge that we don't have here as far as soul travel. I mean, how did he see me as a ghost? Was he telepathic or you know, spiritually psychic? Was he seeing me as a ghost? Or how was that possible when the children see me too? He understood frequency in a way that the Earth people doesn't, okay? He understood that, you know, time really doesn't exist. He told me how to map out time, and that's what I remember when I came back. He told me how to map out time. I am not smart in space math, okay? I failed. I didn't go past basic math. Pre-algebra was my final math class my senior year. Okay, so for me to come back knowing how to convert astral AUs in light years and understanding distance and time is unheard of, okay? This is something that I was taught by somebody from Mars. You know, that sounds crazy, but that's the truth. So what I'm trying to tell you here is I couldn't, you know, at first, when I woke up, at first I thought, okay, there's life on Mars. You know, if I'm looking at Mars right here, even from a telescope, you're not going to see houses, okay? You're not going to see people. But I understand what houses and people are, their energy. And I understand that houses, you know, I can walk through a house in soul form here, okay? But there I couldn't walk through a house. I was matching the energy of that house. I was sitting on a chair talking to a being, okay? So what I'm saying is the energy of your body, of your mind, frequency, it's just like a level up. I'm leveled up to where I can expand my consciousness into other dimensions of time because I can coexist into other realities, okay? And that's why I call myself a soul traveler. You know, I'm a time traveler. I literally can travel through time. And, you know, that goes way beyond just being a soul traveler. You know, you're astral traveling in this realm. No, I'm not staying in this realm all the time. I'm going into other dimensions, other frequencies, other life forms, okay? And I could bring a lot of stuff that I don't even know if I'm going to reveal in a book. I know advances. We can make inventions, you know, of things that other people are doing in other time frames or in other planetary systems. I have that information. I'm not out for self-gain, and it's so complex that I couldn't create it on my own. I would have to sell the idea. And honestly, I don't know. The point is let me get to the point. You know, I keep veering off. The point is that when I came back, see, when I was getting ready to leave there, I knew I had to come home. I do remember knowing that I could not stay any longer and telling him, I need you to make me feel a way. I need you to make me feel something so I remember this, you know? And so he brought up and that's why I remember the conversation at the end. He brought up the Earth's on fire again and, you know, set me in a mood. And I was like, don't tell me that. It's not on. Now I'm arguing with him because he's dead serious. He's telling me the Earth's on fire. And I'm like, dude, so is it 2018 your time? Is it 2019 your time or 2019 my time? So I was like, I need to know what year it is. And he told me what year. I'm like, I'm never going to remember that. There's no way I can remember numbers like that. And so, you know, he's like, well, this is what you do. You go home when you wake up. As soon as you wake up, map out the distance from Earth to Mars today. Like, map that distance out, the exact distance on this day. Because it changes as we rotate around the sun and stuff. So he told me how to map that out. And, you know, it's complex. You know, I'm not even going to break down the math of that right now. I would have to look at my paper because it's not something that I have been taught. I woke up, wrote it down, wrote the information down, converted the systems. Now, when I got onto Google, there was only one calculator that I needed. And it's converting, it's called astronomical units or astronomical units. You're converting a very large number, light years, okay? Just think about this. You say I go to Florida. I'm here and I'm going to Florida, okay? There's a distance in time between me and Florida. And so that is what I'm talking about. There is a time that it takes to travel somewhere. And that's how we get time, even though time doesn't exist. Time doesn't exist because, you know, Florida is on a different time frame. I could leave here at 5 o'clock and land in Arizona at 5 o'clock. Okay, so that tells you, like, I lost no time in that flight. But we already know that I've been flying and there's time in between. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. You have to convert distance and to understand how far in the future you are. You have to know your distance and time frame. And that's what I did. I converted the distance in light years. You're getting numbers this long. And yeah, this is like Newton stuff, you know. And when I got to Google, they only had one calculator and it was under NASA and CERN. And I didn't want to click on it. It was a calculator to convert into AUs, to convert numbers into AUs, which is just bringing the long number down, like to where you can actually understand it in your mind, because it's too big to even fathom how many miles you are from home, because that's another thing, distance of miles. I was so far. Okay, light years. Light years. Google light years and see how far that is. And I was like freaking far, okay? So when I use this calculator, shit started happening to me, by the way, and I'll do a video on that one because that's a separate situation, but I had a feeling not to use it and I did, and shit started happening. Like, I felt like I was being targeted by the government, and it is what it is. Maybe they weren't, but I think they were. Okay, but so I got the breakdown and I determined from my math that I don't know what I'm doing. Even this, I have people that I know that do math. They can't break down it. It's too complex. But what we determined is that basically this sounds really crazy because they spin faster than we do, okay, or slower or whatever it is. You can tell that I don't care like to know all this shit. But we were 1 year off, basically, in time. Basically, it boils down to this. It's 2021 now. So, if my math was correct, and if that guy knows what he's talking about, then the earth has been on fire. And that's something that really set with me. Because I'm like, okay, I have a ghost or a dead guy who's not in heaven, who's living on another planet, just like we're living here. Tell me something. You know, you can't always go by what those entities say to you. You have to understand that not everybody knows everything. You know, there's always learning and growth. And the higher you go in frequency, the more you learn. I didn't know if he was a past person. Is this like a past experience on Mars? Or are we ourselves going to go to Mars in the future and live there? Whatever it is, I 100% promise you that there was or is going to be life on Mars. And I'm giving you an explanation in a way you can understand, but I could tell you that there is life on Mars right now. And that's because we're not talking about time. Okay, I'm talking about there is life on Mars because I was there. I don't know what year I was in. You know, I could have been 5 million light years in the future. I could have been 5 billion light years in the past. Okay? That's what I can't tell you. I feel like it was in the future because Earth is on fire. Now, however, I guess it could have been before Earth even came about. I don't know. I mean, I guess that don't even make sense. So, as you could see, things begin to really mind boggle you. And you have to understand that, you know, it's not always meant for you to understand until wisdom comes with your own learning and experience. And, you know, mapping it out. Somebody that hasn't been through this experience like I have, or doing a math problem, you know, with long formulas and equations, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because this is what I know. I know there's life on Mars, okay? They have houses, they have children, they have bicycles, they have technology, they have artifacts, they have things carved into, like, we have, you know, okay, you know, the pyramids in Egypt, they have that. They have that. I've seen it in the horizon. So, the fact that, you know, our people are trying to explore Mars right now, tell me why. They know. They have to. You know, they have the Vatican has fancy telescopes that harm in to frequency vibrations. It's hard. Even a ghost, they know, the government knows what ghosts are made out of. They are hiding information. I'm going to have to cut that out. I don't know if they're hiding information, YouTube people. I'm just saying, what if they are? How about that? I'm saying, what if they are? I mean, yeah, tell me about that. What if they are? Yeah, so I don't want to get kicked off. I really don't want to get another kick off. So, yeah. How about we just say we're having story time with T, with Lucretia, about Mars. We're just having daydream moments that might not be true, or it might, who knows. So, guys, I'm telling you what I know. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. There's life on Mars, and in the time frame that I was in, they literally say the Earth's on fire. I don't really know nothing else other than it vibes really nicely. The kids are really mouthy. The guy was such a hippie. He was so freaking nice, and he did not believe a word I said about Earth. And he must have believed me a little bit, or he wouldn't have went into such detail about how to map my distance. Maybe I messed his mind up as much as he messed mine up temporarily, because, yeah, for somebody to tell you Earth's on fire is crazy. Now, let's go back to time. What is time? Because pretend he's right. Pretend Earth is on fire. What's time? The Bible says it will end in fire. Who's to say that it isn't on fire now? We're living a perception of reality. We're an illusion. We're not in heaven yet. We can only see what we believe. Doesn't mean that we're caught up in time. It doesn't mean that we're where we're supposed to be in time. God is patient. God is loving. Jesus came to give us everlasting life. So, yeah. I hope you followed along with me. I know that was kind of crazy. It was spur of the moment and random. Just wanted to tell you the truth. Much love. Keep vibing high. Raise that elevation. Don't let them scare you. And, yeah, hey, before I go, I just went to work for a mandatory class, and my instructor, CPR instructor, told me that, edit that. Okay, back to it. I just left work, and I wanted to tell you something. The kids at school that got the jab, and some kids didn't get the jab. Well, I work in a different location than my kids go to school. It's about, I don't know, it's about 30 minutes away, right? 30 minutes away, they are separating the children that's been jabbed. So at lunchtime, the kids that been jabbed eat together, and the kids that are not jabbed have to have a different lunch. So she just pulled her daughter out of school. Yeah. Can you believe that? It's mind-boggling. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Like, what's the world coming to? They are trying to divide and conquer us in every way they can. So stay strong, people. Stay strong. We're really just a soul. We can manifest a body. Let's give it through time, trying to find ourselves, trying to find God. Service in the higher minds. Stay tuned. I'll be back for more. Much love.